Yeah, and well, yes, they did some similar training in Clark County. The school district just did a piece, and I believe it was with the, I want to say the NAACP. They were looking at how to show parents how to navigate the social media, and those types of things. So it is those types of things are happening, and additionally, I think it's just very simple. I always believed in making things simple when dealing with challenges. It's just like in law enforcement, and you heard me say this forever and ever in my former capacity as a deputy chief. The safety and sanctity and education is everybody's business. And it's up to everyone to help the teachers and the administrators to make sure that those students, those scholars have a productive day every day. And
Right.
there's no reason why the principal is asking for help. That should be the community should automatically be helping with that school. Those are their babies. Those are their tax dollars. It shouldn't come to this for the principal to ask for help. And I know he or she has been asking for it all year long because they start off with the first PTA. Hey, mom and dad, here's how to reach your teacher. Here are the expectations. Here are the quizzes. Here are the other things that we're going to need you to be aware of and to assist us with. I know
Hmm.
teachers do that. I know the schools are doing that. They do it every year. So, shame on the rest of the community if we're not giving those teachers and administrators the assistance they need because that's everybody's business. They need all of us to help. Even if it's something as simple as when the teacher's sending these things home, that you're taking 10 minutes out of your busy day to make sure that it's getting done. And if there's an issue, then you have a conversation with the teacher so that you can make sure that those lessons are getting done. That's simple,
I
you know?
agree.
Right.
It's that.
Right. And just arming teachers is just, the research shows, the presence of a gun, increases the risk posed to children.
Right.
And they have some of the same things. It follows along with the same kind of stats that show, as with, in their parents' firearms, students may be aware of where or how the teacher keeps the firearms and how to obtain access to it. There was a study that showed a majority of children are aware of where their parents store their guns, and more than a third reported handling their parents' gun, and 40% of them had done so without the knowledge of their parents. So, you have that kind of problem or that kind of statistic as it relates to a gun in the house. So imagine, kids, kids are just smarter than than their parents sometimes, because parents are so busy taking care of everything else. They don't have time to think of every single thing. Students
Right.
and teachers are so focused on everything else that they've got to do that's incumbent upon them as a teacher. Now they've got to, also remember, oh yeah, I got this gun, or I'm doing something else. I keep my focus on this. So worried about losing the gun. Now, granted, I understand that not every teacher. It doesn't sound like anything that I see with regard to any of the legislation would make a teacher uh, carry a gun, and even some of the bills do allow for the school district to opt out of having folks in there with guns. But it just seems like the more it just doesn't make sense to me to if the problems are guns, adding more guns don't seem to be the fix. It just doesn't seem to be. It doesn't seem to be the fix at all. Um, that just doesn't make good nonsense to me even.
I agree. Well,
Yeah, and
you know,
so do their the I'm sorry, Ambezi,
no, go
the
ahead.
unions as well. The American Federations of Teachers and National Education Association, two of the largest organizations of educational professionals, oppose allowing guns in schools too.
Right.
Um, and that's been ongoing. They said guns have no place in our schools. Period. We got to do everything to reduce the possibility of any gunfire in schools and concentrate on ways to keep all guns off the property and ensure the safety of our children and school employees. That's from those two organizations, and they've been banging that gong for a while. As long as people have been talking about allowing more guns in schools and giving and arming our teachers, they have been combating that. So if you've got the organizations that represent most of the teachers saying, "Hey, this is not what we want," um, it puts the onus back on us, the community, back on the legislators, to kind of go back to the drawing board and figure out a way to do this. And probably the most, the way that the reason they don't want to get into that, because then that gets into who can own guns or how they get guns in the first place.
Right.
And that's the issue they don't want to deal with. Enter NRA.
All right. Well, I think that we've all made some great points. It's about that time, though. We don't have a lot of time. Actually, we have 0 time. So let's do some closing statements. Does anybody have anything to say before we wrap? Actually, I'm gonna throw it to you, Thinbad, because you're the best at just wrapping us up.
Maybe today. But this is, it was a heavy discussion, and it's really serious, and it's a lot that we've kind of gone on. We've just kind of touched
Absolutely.
the surface on a lot of things, but hopefully it's gotten folks to thinking. Students have enough to worry about with tests in school and all the other stuff they got to do, right? As you said, facts. But facts. But they got to worry about that. They got to worry about puberty. They got to worry about pimples. They got to worry about getting bullied and beaten up, or and now shot. It's crazy. I mean, who would have thought that? But it's up to us to kind of prepare our children, and it's we have to prepare our children for so many things that we didn't even want to have to fathom. But we have to from kindergarten through college. The reality is that something like this could visit, and we hope it not visit any more schools, in any place. This is just a terrible thing to have happen, that someone could come in and massacre innocent students. But, it's time to figure this out, though, because it seems to be happening more and more. The discussions come up, as you said, they come up and then they fall back down. Everyone goes back to business as usual. But I think it's something that we need to keep our, I was going to say finger on the trigger. That is not what I meant to say.
Ain't it.
That would not have been the choice. No, that was a bad choice. We keep our thumb on the pulse of what's going on, and revisit this as many times as I think we need to, and kind of figure out how we fix this. But we're not going to fix it all tonight, though. So, everybody, we want to thank you all for listening, and that's all the time that we've got tonight. And as always, Ambeezy and Chief.
Yes, sir.
And our listeners, we want to thank you all for allowing us to give it to you straight. No chaser.
Thank you for listening to Straight No Chaser.